Hey everyone, welcome once again to Show versus Business. This is your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. We really got into it this one. Oh, they're not like us, Mr. Benja. The halftime show that the world was talking about, Super Bowl this past weekend. We went deep into it. Super excited about that. Mr. Benja, what are your thoughts about what we talked about when it came to the halftime show? What are some of the areas that people need to be aware of?
It was good, man. You know, we started out talking about little AI and we're like, don't worry, we have time to talk about Kendrick. And then we went in and it went long because it just got so good. So, you know, just jumping into all the different pieces of it, the music, the styling, the clothes, the symbolism, how people liked it, how people didn't like it, Drake fallout. So it's been a whole week of just basically reviewing this thing. So, you know, we were like, let's go straight back into it. There's enough meat here for days.
Absolutely. And of course, we do our trailer breakdown, everyone. So if you want to check those out, just go ahead and click on that link below in our chapter notes and you can go see that directly. Thunderbolts and How to Train Your Dragon. Go check that out. But as always, like I said, please like, subscribe, give us comments. We always give you guys shout outs in the comments. Hope you guys like this latest episode. We're ready to begin right now. This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money with your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, how was your week?
Week was wonderful, man. A lot of rain, a lot of good times. And you see, I got the rainbow right here. I saw the most perfect rainbow in my life out here after all this LA rain, which is great after all the LA fires. So, you know, I'm just feeling good. And it's Black History Month, so you see, I got all the people from the cookout here, and right there, you know, old girl with the AI mouth and the AI face here. They're not feeling good in the picture, but you know, they're happy, so it's good. I'm good, man.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, I saw it about the LA rain. What was like, they called it the atmospheric river or something like that. You know, the names they come up with.
Yeah.
So, how's that dealing with all the suit and all that stuff when the fires? Everybody's okay, or is it kind of making it worse out there?
Well, you know, LA people can't drive in general, so anytime this happens, you always hear about, you know, people trying to stay off the road, or they ran into a mailbox or a light post or something like that. Silly stuff like that is happening. But for the most part, you know, people welcome the rain. The LA River filled up, and all these discussions about how to best handle the river and the water supply. All those discussions come up every time it rains. So, you know, these are good discussions to have. Like, what do we do with this water, as opposed to, oh my God, we have no water. So in the end, you know, we kind of like, oh man, it's raining, but we're happy for it. So everybody's spirits are up.
Good. I know it was as we're recording this, it's the day after Valentine's Day, so may have been some people sad. You had to stay indoors for the rain, but it's all good.
Man, I had a picnic on the grass, and my leg got soggy.
Yeah. So yeah, my Valentine's Day was a blur with spending time with kids. So that was my Valentine's Day. Buying donuts for the kids and the wife. Heart-shaped donuts. Yeah, that was my Valentine's Day. So I think everybody had a good time except for me. I was tired. But yeah, man, let's see. My week was interesting. I got a chance to see Captain Black American Falcon, also known as Captain American Brave New World. The family and I went to go see on Thursday night. You know, I can't. I gotta go see these movies night of, just so I don't run into spoiler territory. Yeah, spoiler territory. So I don't know. You haven't watched it yet, have you?
I have not seen it.
Yeah. So
tell me some non-spoiler stuff.
Yeah, we'll do some non-spoiler stuff. Maybe we'll come back around to it. High level, I would say it was mid. I'm just gonna be honest. It was mid.
Okay.
So out of 10, I would say is like about 6, because I appreciate the effort. I saw what they were trying to do, but it looks like they were trying to make it a sequel for a movie that for a sequel and a follow up to two movies that no one cared about. So the original MCU Hulk is basically a sequel for that. You know, that's not a spoiler. We already know the Red Hulk appears. So there it is. So there's a lot of references to that movie. That was when Ed Norton was in it, right? Before they got the new actor, Ruffalo. to join in. So this was when they had Ed Norton, when
Okay.
he was Incredible Hulk, and that was like what that was back in phase one. I think that Hulk wasn't that the
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So they did basically a sequel to that movie and a follow up to the Internals. Just like
Right. 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 I
and
did the trailer. So yeah.
so it's like, what are we doing here? But I appreciate, Mackie doing the best he could with what he had, but obviously the fandom out there is saying things like not my Captain America and that kind of crap because they've been emboldened in this new era of anti DEI, I guess. But
It's American History Month. American History Month.
all history matters.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Yeah.
really quick on that point, I actually was wondering. It's like, well, hey, is there, what about this white history thing? I just wanted to do my due diligence and see what people were talking about. Man, there's like an Irish month. There's a, fisherman's month. There's all these months, and it's like nobody should feel left out about having one. They're just not like popularized. So I'm like, hey man, free country. Go popularize your month if you want to. Celebrate all you can,
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah. I
gonna be
mean,
at the cookout.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is just with our lips all sprayed across the.
That's that's an AI lip reference, by the way. Theo thought this guy was mad funny.
Well, that shows you another thing, the bias that's in AI, right? They can't get black lips right, so that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Not enough inputs from the internet, I guess. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, man, I get where they're going with it. Isaiah Bradley, do I look like an old man to you? Showed up. He was probably the best part of the movie for me, man. That old black man vibe that he brings to everything, just like
Yeah.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. That that was hilarious. Every time he showed up, I was there for it. So yeah, man, this I see why it kind of got mid reviews, and then obviously there's this campaign that's just anything that's trying to promote other. It seems like they're really going after mostly women, black folks, and maybe trans folks. Those are kind of folks that are the real target of these DEI campaigns. That's just what I'm
The
seeing.
anti DEI campaigns.
Yeah, the anti
Yeah.
D. Yeah, thank you. The anti DEI campaigns. Yeah. Anyone else that's I don't really hear a lot about gay men. Gay white men. Really, I don't hear a lot about Latinos. It's just really about just those three kind of groups. So anyway, I digress. But like
Yeah.
I said, I thought it was mid. It could have been a lot better, but maybe we'll do a deeper dive into it, or maybe people won't care anymore because it's over. But I have a feeling, you know what? I don't think anything else is coming out for the next couple of weeks. So it's still, I think it'll be a number one movie. Obviously, it's a Marvel movie, so people just gonna come on GP. But it still might be, it still might hit some numbers because I don't think a lot's coming out right now.
Yeah. And I didn't check it out. I will. It just wasn't on my mind, and kind of like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Um, but I did check out the Madam C.J. Walker story, Self Made, on Netflix, and I hadn't seen that before, and it's actually a pretty decent telling of that story, as I can tell so far. So, have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah. I think that came out like during the pandemic or before, but yeah, it's been out for a minute. So,
Yeah, it has. It has. I'm just
welcome to 19, welcome to 2018, Mr. Benja. But no,
Black
no.
history is eternal, Theo. All right, we're gonna stick with it.
But yeah, awesome movie, man. About just knowing your audience. I mean, from a business standpoint and trying to position yourself. And yeah, I was really impressed with it. I'm glad we got movies like that now that there's other venues to kind of get stories that we never covered in history. And so I'm curious about more stories like that coming to fore. What did you like about it? What did you like about it? Would you just because it's
Mostly, it didn't fall in the preachy vibe. It just portrayed the history, and you're like, okay, cool. And it didn't fall into the um, motorcycle gang vibe. I'm sorry, that was a distraction. Yeah, motorcycle in the background. It didn't fall into the you know, let's try to be really overly hip and do a lot of strange things that just take away from the core of the story. So, which is what happens with a lot of Black history, I think, where you get this, you know, hey kids, this is real important now, and everybody gets bored and falls asleep, and then there's the, you know, hey, let's throw in some, DJ Quick, and like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's just it can't have our black leaders dancing out to DJ Quick for no good reason. Um, but no, it played out well, and I appreciate that.
Message. Yeah. Um yeah, man. So I'm glad that's good, man. I think you that's good. I should
Wait,
watch
I don't
some
know if
more
I ever
Black History.
I don't know if I ever asked you this. Do you think there should be a Black History Month? Putting you on the spot. I know.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I
Okay.
think it's something. I mean, the always the joke is, yeah, they give us the smallest month in the year, but
Mhm.
I mean, there is something to kind of appreciate the contributions we made to America, even though the biggest contribution we really talk about, which was slavery, which the ability to have free labor. I mean, from an economic standpoint, that was really what built America. Because we would export tons and tons of things like cotton that really allowed us to kind of build up our economy in a
Yeah.
time where we needed it.
And yeah, and the North wasn't out of the woods either. The amount of servitude, just like general
Yes.
servitude in the North, was huge,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like you know, it's like I'm in the North, I get paid lots of money because no. It was just slightly different. So it was a big economic battle, and people were like, "Well, if it's economic, it's not really about races." It's like actually, if a whole group of people is considered property, then it is economic and social at the same time. So
Absolutely.
GTFOH with that.
Mr. Benja getting raw on Black History Month. Yeah, man. I think this is, people are like, oh, this is terrible. It's the darkest timeline, dealing with this. I know it's not, we always talk about it. We don't really get into politics, but if you just look at American history, it's always filled with moments like this where we take some steps forward and then we go all the way back, to square one, it seems. And so it's just lurching and going forward and going backwards. And so there's always been moments in history when we have seen that from this American experiment. So it'll be interesting to see, like I told my wife the other day, I like, during what happened during George Floyd in 2020, we may have to wait another maybe 15, 20 years or have another moment like that. And then, there may be another time to take advantage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the system is designed to defend itself,
There you
and
go. Oh, yeah.
of course, and it always amazes me how anytime something happens, all these processes show up that kind of want to keep things the same, but not have that one incident happen again in that same way, so we can't get upset about it.
Damn, that's really insightful, Mr. Benja. Oh, yeah, bars. I like that. It's designed to prevent the change, but also to prevent that one incident to happen again. But then it still opens up to other instances that are related to the systemic issue, right? The systemic issue is never really resolved; it's just kind of papered over, right? And so,
It's like no, they frown upon chokeholds. Then suddenly it's like, well, just lay him on the ground and put your knee on his neck, and it's like, all right, and then it just becomes another thing, right? Now we have to
yeah,
wait for that big incident to happen, et cetera, et cetera. So,
uh, yeah, interesting times. No, man, thanks for sharing that. I mean, well, I've been having fun with AI lately.
oh, oh, oh,
Been playing around with it. I don't know if we recorded this last time, but I talked about how I'm using AI to kind of help understand how my sales guys are talking to people and looking at the scripts and doing some analysis and get some insight on that. And that's been helpful. Also, kind of looking at how I'm communicating to people, making sure I'm doing deep enough questioning and answering and things of
hmm
that nature to potentials. So I'm, loving it to kind of implement it in kind of our process and what we can learn, how we communicate and stuff. And I think that's been helpful. So I've been kind of looking at other people, how they've been using AI. This young lady, I can't remember her name. She's a Wall Street Journal tech writer. She used to be in the before Kara Swisher blew up. She used to work for the Wa- uh, Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you knew that.
okay, yeah,
So she used to be the tech beat writer. So the person that replaced her, I can't remember her name now, but she did a deep dive on how she's using AI. So she's been, gave me some great ideas. Obviously, the basics of just learning how to cook with it. And she compared, DeepSeek, Claude. by Anthropic, and of course ChatGPT. And the consensus is that Claude is probably the best use one right now
Mhm.
because of the way it, it's very user friendly. You can create these projects where you can remember stuff. So I create a project where I'm trying to do analysis on a
Yeah,
company, and I just start putting a bunch of stuff in there, and I can ask questions about it, and it's giving me some insight on how best to look at this company. So I'm like, I see why people like Claude, but then OpenAI is the one with all the innovation, right? They're the one you can get to the internet with. It's the one you can use Operator, which allows it can go in your a browser and buy your plane tickets. I haven't played with that one yet.
yeah,
And then it's got this thing called Deep Research, where it's supposed to give you a deep analysis of all of a topic, right? Like a 15, 20 page paper with sources and all that. So I was
right.
gonna play with that this weekend. So yeah, that's kind of like my thing. Really trying to find like, okay, this stuff is moving so fast, like how people are going to use it. And then if everybody's kind of using it, what's the true moat? What's your differentiator? Is it how fast you can use it? Is
You mean
it
as a
your
person, or is the
yeah, as a
software
person, yeah, as
differentiate?
a
Okay,
person or as a company, right?
brand. Okay.
What's your brand? How are you going to differentiate yourself when everybody has access to these powerful tools? Is it just your creativity, just like anything, and how you can master those tools to stand out from everyone else? So
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
yeah. I definitely have thought about that too. And as far as artists are concerned, it's like you're just based on the amount of data that's out there. All the artists who are trying to achieve a certain look, like, hey, we want this, slightly realistic anime look with this type of shading and all that. And there were just a bazillion of these artists out of Russia, Pakistan, Korea, United States, Mexico, Spain. And I'm calling these countries out because I know that they were making all this type of art. And you'd look it up and you'd see all these people from these different countries. And there was so much of it out there and looks so similar that when you ask AI to make an anime character, it's inherently going to look like one of those just because that's all it knows from all these different countries. So if anybody has their own style out there and really starts making it a little different, then like it's kind of hard to see now just because it's so new to us. Like we think of a halftime show, which we'll get to later, and it's like, oh yeah, halftime shows look like this, and then
Mhm.
it's like, no, 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 your halftime show is not like ours. And
Yeah.
exactly, it's like, oh, okay, this is what a different type of halftime show could look like. And now people start thinking, huh, I didn't know that you could do that. I mean, you could have done that with AI. I mean, you could have made something different with AI if you really worked at it. But just your
Mhm.
personality, where you're coming from, your style, that's still something you can build off of instead of trying to use AI to bring stuff in to create something, using AI to
Mhm.
take what you have and push it out, if that makes sense.
It does, but it's like these tools are advancing so rapidly. It's just like trying to figure out like how you can use it. Because I mean, I think the differentiator may be like how you get AI to interact with other AI bots and do things
Yeah,
separately from
exactly.
you, right? I'm starting to see like, yeah, I can use it, to make my individual work or my corporation work better, but can I get AI just to do stuff with other AI and then come, create its own little side company, run it to the ground, and then figure out something for me?
Yeah,
And like I said, I go always back to that great show, and I watched that episode. It was called the Person of Interest. I think I told you about that episode, the show, and they had an episode where they did it from the computer's point of view, and it
yeah,
slowed down time, and you saw how it would look. It looked at different, looked at his past in real time, right? Looked at his
hmm,
past, like what it learned, the AI. Then it looked at like different scenarios of how they would figure out different pathways. And it was hilarious because I think that's how I think about AI is just like it's kind of like thinking of scenarios that can play out for us that we'll never be able to comprehend, and then come back with us with a solution.
yeah.
And now don't get see this one gonna blow your mind.
Uh
They're
oh.
saying quantum computer is in reach within like 2 to 3 years. So imagine not only are you getting scenarios for this world, but you can get scenarios of infinite number of worlds that can come back to you in the
Yeah,
instant. So,
yeah.
that you didn't even think about, and you're just like, oh. So I'm just like, how is the human race going to comprehend that level of power and capability to be successful?
Well, I think it's we're talking about the branding thing. We mentioned that. So as things tend to, advance quickly like this, the technologies, the output, the images, like we're all used to the phone with a certain thing. What tends to happen is with new technologies, people want support for their technology. So everybody starts to flow into the same silos and the same tunnels of thought and patterns. So if you have a group of people who you've influenced to accept your humor in this certain way, or accept your art or creativity or your brand or whatever in this certain way, the more you do that, the more strange it looks to everybody else. So I don't know if you've ever seen a PewDiePie video, um, but if you've ever stopped and like jumped to PewDiePie, you're watching it, you're like, what in the world? How does this have 25 million views? This just doesn't make sense to me. And every one of his followers is commenting almost in their own language, and they're referencing other shows. And it's just a point where you're like, okay, this is PewDiePie's audience. I don't get it. Someone's listening to Kendrick Lamar. They're like, okay, I
Mm.
don't get it. But you're okay with that because your community is backing you. And if they don't get it, then they don't get it.
No, that's a good point. I think it's about community building, which we're trying to do. Quite frankly, on our show versus business, go follow us and comment below. But I think that is something that is going to become more and more important in this AI age. Because you're right, and then you can kind of create uh, uh, simulations or or copies of kind of what you do, and then you can kind of build the audience based on that, right? Because there's a core audience of what you do, and you already know what your audience likes, and then you just have to do more of it so you can build that specific audience over time. So yeah, I think AI is going to create like these little, we already lived in a bubble world, right, with social media, but it's going to create
Yeah.
more of a bubble where it's like we're going to be talking different languages here in a second, right? It's like I have no clue. You're talking about generation to generation languages. I'm talking about, you know, uh, interest to interest language, right? Some of the stuff we talk about when I talk to other people about that, their eyes glaze over. They're like, what are you talking about? Like we were watching Captain Black American Falcon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was, there was a lot of stuff in there. And so, me, I was like, well, the Red Hulk, he came out and da da da. And then this is what happened. And then my wife was like, what?
And she's relatively close to you
Exactly.
in
She's been
terms of
with
like
me.
watching stuff and not knowing what to expect and seeing the same things. Yeah.
And I saw myself, I was like, I'm getting way too deep into this thing. I couldn't help it. I
Yeah.
just know it. But anyway, so yeah, man, I think it's going to be an interesting world, brave new world, if I may,
Oh.
of
Oh.
what's going to happen here in the future. Yeah, man. So it's just, kind of interesting. One thing I did want to say, shout out to me, myself, and I did
Hey.
a about 25-minute post on what's going on AI. Go check it out. The real deal. Ooh, the real deal Harvey. Go check it out. But yeah, I think I kind of did an overview of like what's happening with DeepSeek and then all the different things that's happening so fast. One of the things that we talked about was distillation, with AI distillation, where you're basically training new models off of more advanced models a little bit faster
Hmm.
with cheaper chips.
Yeah.
And I kind of did an analogy of how that works, with the teacher model training the student model, and all it's doing is using the same inputs and just
Yeah.
finding out what the teacher did with their outputs, and just like, oh, I just got to reverse engineer what they did. And so I kind of went into that. And the reason why I bring that up now is because so DeepSeek with their R1 model, they did it about a year with $5 million. Google researchers recently trained OpenAI Rival in about half an hour for $50.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just saying this is getting faster and faster. So yes, OpenAI has the most advanced model and all this other stuff, but now you're seeing people like, okay, you know what? I don't need to know all this stuff. I just need to know what you know about healthcare. So I'm going to build a model and then
Yeah.
figure this out and and like so cheap, so fast, and then now I have something comparable that I can put to market. And so that's why I was asking you about moats, because I don't think the technology is going to be a moat per se, because it's going to be quickly be able to be emulated.
Right. And that's what a lot of these social networks are figuring out. It's like, hey, we can do the technology. And it's like, so do you have these followers? Are they willing to jump over to your platform? And we talked about this when we talked about Meta getting all the Instagram people over to Threads. It's like
Mm,
that's the only way it happens now. It's like I got your audience, and we're just gonna magically dump them over here and be like, what you got?
Yep.
And
Go check out Shotekery. I talk about him. So Ben Thompson, he talks about that a lot. Where
okay,
it's like now that the technology, we thought it was such a barrier because we got to get these cheap, more expensive NVIDIA chips and all this other crap, and you got to build data centers. But now people are like, oh, this is not going to be the barrier to entry. So now it's all about distribution, baby. And if you have the social network and you have ways to get it out to people faster and cheaply, then guess what? You can win the AI race. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I actually want to look that up. Like, what kind of moats can these companies create? I think about Grand Theft Auto, and it's like a lot of the moats they've created are just the development process and the connection to all the people that are involved in creating these games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Like the
tech,
moat. Yeah, you know what they call it, the uh network
unique
effects,
advantage,
right?
or that, yeah, that's a specific one, right?
What network effects, right? Where
Hmm.
basically the more people that come to a network, the more stronger it becomes, the better, more likely they'll stay in the network, right? That's how social media's blew up, right? You don't want to leave Facebook because all your friends are there. So the more people that get added to Facebook, the more less likely you willing to leave. And so can you create network effects with the help of AI, right? And to your point, it's like a combination of, building your audience up and then using AI to get in front of more people that likes the stuff you like, I think that's maybe the path. So you know what? That might be a project for AI. I'll put in AI. Say, what moats can I create to help me win the AI race against ChatGPT? I wonder if they're gonna have, sir,
Give,
cannot answer this.
give me a step by step process. First, go back to FAMU, and then during homecoming, what you do is set up a barbecue stand.
Have a snake with you. Have a big ass snake around your neck.
Not very many people are going to do this. You're like, you're right.
For a reason. I
Yeah.
love it. But yeah,
Uh,
man. So yeah, go check out the pod I talked about the AI race and what's happening. But yeah, man, fun with AI. Speaking of fun, Mr. Benja, real quick. Well, do you want to get into it? Talking about a little bit about the halftime show, the Super Bowl. Did you watch the whole Super Bowl before we get into that? I'm just curious.
hey, man, it's about halfway through our recording here. So, you know what? Let's do this. Get into the halftime thing. Yeah, man, I watched the halftime show. I watched the actual Super Bowl, and I haven't done that in, oh my God, it's actually over a decade. I've watched the entire Super Bowl, and just,
I'm
yeah.
sorry you
So,
saw that. I'm sorry you saw that. It was one of the worst offerings that existed. That you wait a decade. It's like, okay, we'll watch football again. Oh, this is terrible.
yeah,
It
yeah,
can be
it
so.
was.
It was not good.
I was like, man, this is sad. It's like, oh, interception. Wow, I hadn't. Well, there we go.
Did you watch the second half at all? You turned it off after that. Just curious.
I kept it on, but I was fading.
Yeah, man. It got so bad. He got sacked at least 4 times in a row. It was just like, oh my goodness, kid. I was looking for the mercy rule. You remember in Rocky 4, he had the bloody towel. Throw the towel in. Throw the towel
Mercy
in. I
rule.
was
It's
just
like,
like, Mahomes, get off the field.
don't
But
hurt him,
anyway,
son. Yeah.
I know. But yeah, we're talking about the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar, K. Dot, Mr. Benja. Wow, a lot to discuss here, man. Who knew that this would touch a nerve in so many categories, from race to music to business to fashion even. I mean, it seems like this touched a nerve across the country. I mean it kind of had to, because let's be honest, I think they said 125 million people watched the Super Bowl. That's like
The
almost
biggest
half.
ever.
Yeah, the biggest ever. 300 million Americans, so over half of America, has seen this, probably more because that's single TV use. So yeah, so if you show up on halftime show, people are gonna talk about it. So, Mr. Benjamin, where do we want to start with this coverage here?
Ooh, so much. Big question. Right after you watched it, what were your feelings, man? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you wondering? Were you curious? Were you surprised? What were your initial thoughts, man? Just did you like it?
I thought he was gonna go harder, man. I really
Mm,
did. I
Mm,
was hoping. I didn't read anything up to it. But after the fact, I saw people were asking that. I mean, look, I thought, and Kendrick has been he's recently been elevated to, monoculture status, right? All people love him now. But, for a long time, he was kind of underground. He was like your rapper's favorite rapper, right? He was
yeah,
just, that's that weird guy over there, but he's deep, right? He got a Pulitzer. What's he get? A Pulitzer prize
yeah,
for
exactly.
rapping. Yeah, so it's just like, who does that, right? So he's just out there, and now he's the culture, right? And
Yeah,
so, but I thought that was still in him. He said, "Hey, I got a chance to be here. This my I'm at Ape. I listen to Bill Simmons. He talks about what's apex mountain for a celebrity, right? This is his apex mountain, right? He's never going. He may, but he may never get more popular than this. I thought the
yeah,
time for
that's
him to
fair.
reveal his true colors, right? Which is I'm putting my fist up, I'm kneeling. I mean, some kind of feature of showing, hey, he's ready for the revolution.
It, is
And
that
I
what you
didn't
mean
see
by going harder?
yeah, I didn't see that. I mean, it was. We'll talk about it. I mean, yes, he did some things that was a little subtle. I wanted the subtle to be more, not covert but overt, right? Just really in my face, really in
So
your
you want, so you want the dancers to spell out message?
face. Yes.
Oh
I
man,
don't know something. Have Colin Kaepernick there. I don't know, man. It just I mean, look, this is the opportunity just to be out there, man. Let's do it. Why not? Especially, but I mean, I get what he was doing, and we'll talk about it. But it was just very, even then, they still hated him for it. So you might as well just be out there. That's how I look at it.
all
What?
right, all right. I was more. I liked it. But I was more like, had my hand on my chin. Interesting, interesting. He did it this way, and I was just kind of like, wondering about the whole process leading up to this. Like, well, hey, we got to have. And it's like, no, we're doing it this way because in the history of halftime shows, a lot of it's been about spectacle. So I think his biggest changeover was moving away from spectacle and like, I'm going to bring this down a notch and play it out in a certain way
Hmm.
that's intentionally going to go against your expectations. It's like, everybody's talking about, the dancers, I went back and looked at all these halftime shows, and it's pretty formulaic, like, you know, dancing, some marching band kind of elements, and then fireworks. And I look at his, and it's like a subversion. And I talk to Andy about this all the time. Usually, I hate subversion when people are trying to do something different for the sake of doing something different. So that they're doing something different. I usually get annoyed by that. But I'm like, okay, this is where the fireworks usually go off, and he just goes pop, 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 and the camera starts jumping around, and a couple lights flash, and I was like, huh, that's it, that's it for the fireworks.
Interesting point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I heard that critique. I think Stephen A. Smith said that, it's like there was enough spectacle. It's a Super Bowl. It was they should be more, right? But
hmm,
again, to your point, I don't think that's who he is, and I think he was trying to stay true to that, right? A little bit as well, without being. I mean, he's just a homie, little homie from Compton, right? And so
yeah.
he's just trying to represent his block, but also he's now in the forefront of culture right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get your point. So basically, we both thought it was
No,
yeah, okay.
uh, no. Let me back up on that because in that interesting moment when I was like, interesting, I still think that is the, I don't want to say best, but like most memorable, most powerful halftime show that I think I've ever seen. Like even the Michael Jackson show. I've watched Michael Jackson so many times up to that point where I was like, okay, Michael Jackson doing his thing. As far as flipping the script and me being proud of it and going, yeah, yeah, that's what you should have done. Kendrick takes the ball and runs with it. Just
Yeah, we were going
bar
to talk
none, I'm
about
happy.
it. Yeah, we are going to talk about. Okay, so you felt it's top five performance, top 10 performance.
Top.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
stop, Mr. Benja.
Dead
Stop
serious.
it.
Dead serious.
Above Prince, doing Purple
Expect
Rain in the
expect
rain.
ooh, yeah. Okay.
See,
In the
slow down,
parade
slow
in the
down,
rain.
slow down, son.
I did like the Janet Jackson show before it turned into the
Yeah, the
Nipplegate
freak
and
show.
everybody forgets what it was about. I did like Beyonce's show.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm still a little too close to it.
Yeah. Recency
So
bias is creeping
it,
in.
it it's top five, but at the moment, top.
Ooh. No hesitation. No, we were talking about this, like how's it compared to other ones, and maybe we'll get into this now. Yeah, Prince, Purple Rain. I mean, Michael Jackson. I mean, it's just he just went all out. Obviously, Beyonce. I mean, matter of fact, I mean, someone made a good point. It's like they probably should have switched the shows. Her Christmas special for the halftime show for a Houston game and on Christmas, that was bigger
Right, right.
spectacle than this, right? With the horse, her
Yeah,
coming out on the horse, and all the dancers and all that. He tried to do a little bit at that at the end, with Not Like Us, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think to me, I do feel like, when I kind of looked at the reviews and stuff, I said, okay, I think maybe top 10. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think this was as good as the one they did 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago where they had he showed up with the West Coast melody? Remember, with G Funk?
yeah,
Where everybody, I mean, that was awesome, man. That was great
yeah,
because you know he's gonna show up, the excitement, and when they start playing those old music, you got hype. Matter of fact, it was embedded in the one with Missy popped up on there with, I can't remember who the white artist was, but Missy showed up. Everybody's like, "Who's that artist?" And they were hyped up
yeah,
about her. So I'm like, definitely better than the Weekend. His one was not good. I didn't know what that was about, but yeah, I think yeah, it was like I said. I think it was okay. It wasn't the top, maybe the top 10, especially of the black artists I've seen. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on it.
yeah. It might. Yeah. Well, I'll have to come. I'll have to come back to it. But right now it's just resonating so hard because it did so many different things, so many things differently, and he turned me into a liker and appreciator of Subversion. But
Dang, just your whole philosophy just changed watching that up.
yeah, yeah, he did it right. So now I'm gonna have to talk to Andy, and Andy's gonna tell me
He's gonna be
dude,
like,
I've been telling you this.
"Yeah, I finally got you."
I've been telling you this for years, son. Subversion's great. I'm like,
I love it. I love it. What parts of this we want to cover, man? So much, so many different angles on this one that we
let's
want to
hit
cover.
the halftime, the different portions of it. Let's just plow through
Okay,
those quickly and see what we land on.
sure.
First off, Sam Jackson. I was happy to see him showing up in that suit and just the way he's talking noise. I got happy right off the bat.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I had to watch some analysis myself, but it sounds like there's a character called Uncle Sam in some of his the Kendrick's music, and so it made sense to kind of have a physical embodiment of America and how it's kind of evaluating him on this halftime show. So that's why I say it's covert. It was like, okay, look, we're looking at you, nigga. Don't get above this line here, brother. That, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, that finger pointing at you. It's not I want you. It's like I'm watching you. And so I think that was interesting. That was very covert to say, hey, Uncle Sam is watching Kendrick's performance.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Sam Jackson's a funny character. How he represents this, how people think about him, how Black America thinks about him, and how White America thinks about him. That whole thing in there too. And
Well,
he's
how does black what's the difference between Black America and White America? How they view Sam Jackson?
well, we think of him more as like, yeah, he's that dude doing his thing, as opposed to, oh, that's the guy that curses. You know,
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
the cursing loud guy, and
Uh-huh.
he'll show up and do a children's book and curse all the lyrics out, and everyone's like, that's great and that's funny, and it's like, yeah, but I'm deep too, and it's like we don't want that deep stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
cool, I get it. In fact, speaking of activism, do you know that he, uh, when he was younger, held Martin Luther King Jr.'s father hostage?
What?
Exactly.
Man, Mr. Benja, we gotta go. What's that? Rockarola? What's that? The podcast you sent me. We gotta go deep in that one. Maybe we'll do an
Yeah,
episode.
check this out. If I always want to give you homework so you can search for yourself. Just search for MLK Samuel L. Jackson hostage. And look, Samuel L. Jackson once held Martin Luther King Jr.'s father hostage before eventually lowering him out of a window when he began experiencing chest pains. He didn't even break he was holding them hostage, and he didn't even open the door to let him out. He was like, "Nah, if we open the door, they might come rushing in. We're gonna tie him up, let him out the window." lower him down while we're holding him hostage. It was just like
Wow.
it was this big political thing, and it was a part of a student protest he was doing.
Gotta check that one out. Definitely. Wow, that's
Stuff
interesting.
gets deep.
Yeah. What else here? One of the things I kind of want to cover, I didn't see this after the fact. I didn't know it was a whole game controller aspect of it, right? This whole you're playing a game with the X's and the zeros, the circle. Did you get that right away when you saw that?
I'm kind of ashamed, but I didn't catch on to the video game portion of it. I saw the symbols and first started thinking of Squid Game because it
Hmm.
kind of matched with the outfits, which was kind of referenced, just alluded to, I guess. And then I also thought of it looked like kind of a tic tac toe board,
Yeah.
and so I was getting that from it. I didn't read video game right off the bat, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was part of it, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, in the end, he says game over, and so the audience is the screen. So
Yeah,
that is covert, right? You're playing this game in front of an audience, right?
yeah,
And how are you performing? And so it was kind of like he was already ready for the backlash about how he was performing. He said, I know I'm being watched. I know this is a game I'm
yeah,
playing. So, go ahead and do your worst. I'm going to do what I do. So
yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting. So, yeah, but I didn't catch that till later. What else you got? What you got?
yeah. We'll go right from there to I'll trail off with that with how he was saying, turn the TV off, turn the TV off, and the whole bit about the revolution will be televised. And if you go back to the original statement, like how the revolution will not be televised, what he was saying, Jill Scott Heron, what he was saying about that was, yeah, you may have cameras and stuff around, but the point of it not being televised is that it's not going to get co-opted by the media. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to be a community effort, and you can't televise that. It's going to be
Mm,
people holding arms together metaphorically. It's going to be a community, a group think kind of effort. Like, hey, we're on some new game right now, and you can't televise it, you can't capture it. So, what's funny is Kendrick coming out saying it will be televised. He's saying like, hey, we're on television and I still got this community out here and people are watching it for the reason of the community, you know, it's the right time, but you picked the wrong guy.
yeah, he
You
did
know?
say that. Yeah, well, yeah. He did say that. Yeah. Well, so when you said the wrong guy, so that to me was a little bit kind of stepping away from like, look, I'm not the guy that's going to be out here leading the revolution. I may spark it, but I'm not going to lead it. And so is that was the impression I got when he
Oh,
said the
okay.
right time, but the wrong guy. So I'm sparking it, but I'm not going to lead it. So here, get hype. Bill, I'm going to put some memes out here. I'm going to do some things, get you guys talking in code words, and then I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple different ways to read that. I was taken away. I took away from it. You got the wrong guy. It's like um, when someone comes and tries you, they stand up. Oh, you got the wrong guy. You
Oh,
know,
good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
just the way the intonation and the way he said that just totally evoked that for me.
Yeah,
So
that's art. I love art because everybody can have different opinions of what it means to them. So
yeah,
that's the importance of it. Let's
what you got?
see. What else I got here? I think obviously the flag, black men making up the American flag. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
They all had different, the red, white, and blue, but the different hairstyles and colors. And so just basically American was built on the backs of black men. I'm curious, he didn't see, and someone made a good point. I mean, I had to go deep analysis. They said each of the colors represents something. So white represents purity, red represents war, uh, I think blue represents justice. And when they were dancing, the red folks were always squabble up. They were everywhere. They were kind of always looking to fight. The white one, the white ones were kind of falling around, keeping things
Hmm.
peaceful, especially when they got into the R&B section with SZA. They were around more, and the blue was there to kind of just keep everything, them separated and all that. It was kind of, yeah, it was like, okay, so there was some thought that went into how the dancers were moving throughout the performance,
Yeah,
and so I
yeah,
thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know. Did you catch any of that? I didn't catch that till after watching some analysis, but I did see the
yeah.
black
So
men and what they were doing, though.
yeah, yeah, definitely the red, white, and blue aspect of it. It's like let's not even throw any, of the, it's like, hey, we are American, and we're going to claim this American situation in the
Yeah.
most, as Sam Jackson called it, ghetto way possible.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and the subtle splitting of the flag when he was standing in the middle of it, it's like, yeah, we can put him in the middle, but everybody's kind of shifted a little bit, so it's not a perfect. Like, he could have had the flag the way it was, but then they split apart a little bit, so it's like, hey, this is going to be a divisive kind of thing. We're still kind
Hmm.
of divided. Those are all little bits in there like that.
I love it. I love it. What you got?
Um, what I thought was funny. So the car, the GNX, the Buick GNX came out, and it's this black car. It's got a lot of history. With Kendrick, the date of he was born on the same year that came out. It's like a unique car. A lot of people really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like really popular or famous.
Yeah.
Um, and then he starts on that. I mean, that's where he starts the thing, and everybody starts running out of the car. What's interesting is that the car went into the background during the performance, and at some point, a dude with a combination Palestinian and Sudanese flag comes out there and starts waving it. And you can barely catch it in the background, but in one of the shots, it almost looked like he was calling out over his shoulder, and you could see it in the background. And people aren't sure whether he did that intentionally or it was just a timing of the camera, the song, and the guy being on the car. And it's like it's like, hey, let me do a real subtle, or maybe he didn't even do it on purpose kind of thing, or maybe he didn't know about it. But it was one of those things that happened where it gets enough of that buzz in there that just I don't know. You heard about the Palestinian flag guy in the
Oh
car?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He got arrested, and but this is New Orleans. They said they have a jail inside the Superdome, so I guess he
Yeah,
went to that jail, but he got released, and it was like nothing. So that was weird to me. It was like, oh, here's this guy that no one knew about. That was a dancer that kind of snuck these flags in, and he just got released. So my suspicion flag went up. It's like, wait a minute, did Kendrick and team know about this guy and just let it kind of slide? And it's like, oh yeah, he's with us. Just let it go. And so, to your point, so do you think he acted independent or was it kind of planned?
you ever see those shows where you have like a mob boss or something, and somebody comes in, like somebody 6 levels down from the mob boss has access to him, and they ask him something like, "Hey, is it okay if I, get rid of this restaurant? Get rid of this restaurant?" And the Don's like, "I never liked that restaurant anyway, but maybe it should stay. Maybe it should be replaced by something. I don't know, but I never really liked it." And the Don walks off, right? And then everyone's wondering, like, okay, so if he never really liked it, I should have some amount of protection. What do you mean by that? It's like, okay, I'll go ahead and do it, because then we'll replace it with something better. That's what the Don was saying. But the Don could be just like, I'll just give my opinion. So did
Plausible
Kendrick
deniability. Did he have plausible?
exactly?
He said, now we don't need to have that political stance, but I mean, it's same what's happening with those people over there. Someone needs to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
He's got connections. He's a filmmaker and fashion designer, and I saw some of his posts on Instagram where he was
Who's
just like,
this? The flag guy?
the flag guy. Yeah,
Hmm.
I can't find him now, but
Of course,
I'm not
they don't
looking
want you to
too
have it.
I'm not
They
like
don't
too
look too
hard, but
hard. Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. That whole little there's so much chaos going on during that show, which is
Yeah.
also kind of the point. It's like it's not as ordered; it's just chaotic.
Hmm.
That something like that could plausibly happen, and nobody freaks out too much.
Absolutely, I agree. So, I mean, do we want to get into they had the smooth R&B part. I thought that was kind of interesting with SZA. Just kind of, keep it cool with All Stars and Luther. Everybody loves that song, and that gets into that R&B, that smooth side of Kendrick Lamar. But Mr. Benja. I think everybody's waiting. Says, is he going to do? Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And so they even prepped for it, where they had the little dancers said, they like to sue, and so, but he just kind of prep you for it, right?
Yeah,
And then when that song, when that dun, 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 and that came out, it was ah. And he started doing it, and then the next thing was like, is he gonna say his name? Is he gonna say his name? And he said it right on cue. He said, "Hey, Drake,"
yeah. It's
and then
funny that
have it. Go
that
ahead.
pose has become a meme right now, and I love
Yeah,
it. Just the
I
fact that
love it
walking and
too.
smiling, bam.
Say Drake. And then the fact that everybody in the whole stadium would say A minor. I was like, oh
Yeah,
man, this is a defeat. This is as bad as Patrick Mahomes. There's a meme, I gotta send it to you, where they got Patrick Mahomes and Drake consoling each other, because basically that's, yeah, Drake got owned. It was, I don't know how bad you can beat. I mean, that's the worst. I mean, it's not bad. It's bad enough it was he won a Grammy for it. Not bad enough that everybody, it was the number one song. He played at the Super Bowl, the biggest performance of all
yeah,
time.
yeah,
So can Drake come back? That's the question from something that this total decimation of him. But and then he had you had Serena out there crip walking. I mean, and her roots go deep. She's from Compton. She controversial did the crip walk at the Olympics a couple years back,
yeah. Hmm.
and people were criticizing her for that. Obviously, she was an ex of Drake, and so she was out there walking on him. And SZA is an ex. That's what the rumor is. I don't know of
Yeah, they
Drake.
had a little
So,
thing.
so yeah, the whole it's just the decimation of just the Drakeness of it all was just complete. What it said, finish him. What Mortal Kombat. That's what that was. That was like, Mortal Kombat, they would split the scene. That's what that happened. It was like Drake is like wobbling, right? Finish him. And then the whole Super Bowl comes in. You got the lights and
Yeah,
everything. And then Kendrick does say Drake, and then Drake just explodes. Fatality.
yeah. That's. I mean, okay. So in general, man, the whole beef thing, it's it's fun and just kind of tense when it's within a certain group, but then once somebody gets outed from the group, like Drake is people are like pushing away from Drake, like, yeah, Drake was cool just to have on some songs and everything, but we knew he was
Wait a minute.
problematic.
It's like Peter, man. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. The first
Yeah.
time he said, "Nah, I don't know Jesus." Second time, "No, no." Third time, "Why y'all keep asking about Jesus? I never knew that guy." It's just like, wait a minute, hold up. That's what people are doing with Drake right now. They're like, Drake, I did a feature, but I didn't know it was Drake.
Yeah. And
I mean, look at the Grammys. I mean, you got Taylor Swift who did songs with Drake, and other folks just be like singing A minor and dancing to just. I
yeah.
mean, it's just, yeah. You're right. People are just kind of distancing themselves from him pretty, pretty, pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's a whole thing, but it's funny as many times as you bring it up where it's like, yeah, as much symbolism as there was, Drake is also a symbol, and
Mhm.
he got caught up at the wrong time and definitely with the wrong guy. You know, S-
Yeah,
s-
yeah. He thought he was going to get a chance. I mean, that push was pretty interesting, but that got a little heat there for a second. But after that, when Not Like Us came out, that was it. So, wow. Anything else, man? We want to talk about this?
um, you know, yeah. You want to go a little long?
Yeah. What you
Just
thinking?
Yeah, no, we just have more. I know people are going to be talking about some parts of this. Um, what do you think of his outfit?
I didn't ever really thought he was like a merchandise type of guy until this, man. It was like, I mean, obviously he's got his little, small A, was it PG Land? I think that's the name of his company. And so
Yeah,
he was out here repping that. The jacket had all these sayings on it. And then he had the, I mean, we call them bell bottoms, right? But I mean, they're, I guess what they call them, flare. What they call them, flare jeans. And so
yeah. I
it
guess they're a
was.
little different from bell bottoms, but sure.
I mean, my daughter caught that immediately. She was like, "What's that?" And so she said, "I don't know if I like that." But then I was like, "Oh, that caught her interest." And so, sure enough, the whole world, 125 million people saw that, and it sold out instantly. What he was wearing. So it's just like, who knew? He's a fashion icon now, man. It's just crazy how one little your rapper's favorite rapper became the biggest music star, music artist of the year. Crazy.
Yeah, and also, it's he had the feather in his cap. Some people were wondering about that, or thought it was a wing. It looked like a feather in the cap, and basically a feather in the cap. That's like a saying that means you got an achievement or honor that somebody can be that you can be proud of.
Hmm.
So being at the Super Bowl, he's got this diamond feather in his cap. He's like, yeah, I've made it. So I like the little subtle nods like that, and even with the chain that he had on, everybody saw the A, but if you look at some of the close up shots, the actual links in the chain, they had letters that spelled out PG Lang. So
Mm.
people are going to be looking out for that production company to do more and maybe be behind the scenes on a lot of stuff. Good play.
Yeah. I mean, you did deep dive on his shirt underneath the jacket that he didn't. did you did you want to talk about that? You were trying to find that shirt.
Oh yeah, he actually had a shirt on, just a regular black shirt. It seemed from watching the halftime show, but if you saw him get escorted out off the field and went back and took his jacket off and everything, he had a shirt that said the basically on the back said "Keep them away from me." I don't know why, but Kendrick getting all this attention and being a quiet person, and then having a shirt on that says "Keep them away from me" just made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, yeah. James, James, you got to make a short out of that. That's for sure. Because the shirt Kendrick Lamar doesn't want you to see. That's the hook.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the fakers, the haters, the you know the people like Drake. It's like just keep them away from me.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
Uh,
Yeah, man. Do you want to talk about the haters? You talk about the haters. Let's talk about the haters, man. I didn't think it was gonna be hated that much. I'll be honest with you, because it was funny. I was walking around. I was surprised. I mean, I had some coworkers, who said, "Hey, that kid." I asked them about the Super Bowl. I didn't give them any prodding about Kendrick. I was talking about the game itself.
yeah,
Oh, that Kendrick performance! I wanted to see that. And it's like, oh wow, and and then I was sitting in a coffee shop, and it was like I heard like two conversations where people were talking about the Kendrick Lamar thing. So it's just like I was like, wow, his performance really, got into society there for this last week,
yeah,
and but then it's like, don't you guys have enough victories now? But it's like they got to find some more enemies. If you don't have enemies on the other side, then it's like you're not relevant anymore. So they're gonna go after Kendrick, I guess, and talking about
yeah.
all these other things. Yeah, it was a lot.
So speaking of the haters, man. It's like when I was so for those who don't know, I grew up in North Florida, South Georgia, um, and it was a whole racial thing. It was just out there in its own way. Not saying that it wasn't in other places, but the straightforward kind of, yeah, I'm like this, we don't like you for this and that was very interesting down there. And one thing that they would always have is, you know, this idea that you did that on purpose, which is why I think a lot of the subtlety was good with what Kendrick did, because it's like somebody sitting down saying he did that on purpose, and they're kind of gritting their teeth, but they can't point it out too harshly because it's like, hey man, we're all dancing in the American flag, and you're talking about the flag being divided. Oh, that's just a visual thing, man. I was just standing in the middle, so they had to separate a little bit. I can't just be all jammed up with these dancers. But if you could say they did that on purpose out loud, then it's you're hitting on something, right?
Hmm.
You're touching a nerve. So the whole idea of just kind of like, hey, I'm not really saying anything. I'm just saying that's a game that uh, white supremacist racism has played a long time. And
Good
people
point.
get really frustrated when we don't come out and, we don't come out and say something right off. There's that idea that, they're just looking over at us like, he's doing that on purpose.
Good
It's like,
point. So he kind of used subversion, like they do, because you're right. There's been, the Proud Boys, the little shout outs to them, the little finger movements they do, right, to kind of
mhm.
get us riled up. I mean, the DEI or woke is a code word for other things. So
Yeah,
to your point, he's doing the same thing, kind of at their own game. So, Mr. Benja, you might pull me back into your world, man. It's like I was like he should have been more overt, but maybe the conversion was a way to go after them because using their old tricks. And because now you're right, they can talk about them, but it was kind of like subtle. They were like, "Well,
yeah,
you had to flag, and you divided it." So like you're right. And I was looking at some of your criticisms here. It's like we couldn't understand his words, or they were getting on him because he had too many black folks. It was DEI. I mean, so what? He's going to have a bunch of white folks out there dancing. He probably should have just to say, "Well, I had a whole section it was nothing but white folks." Then they couldn't say nothing. They'd be like, "Oh," and so, but yeah,
yeah.
they would criticize him on like little minute things. Like I couldn't understand them. It's not my cup of tea. That was like DEI because it had so many black folks in the performance. I'm like, come on, man.
Yes, it's in and still, as I said, there's like people that are saying, he built a whole halftime show around the diss track, just so he could talk down to people. And there was this one music somebody who had been around a while. He just went on a rant. He wasn't important enough of a music guy to really write down or remember, but he was just like, halftime shows and things like this are supposed to be uplifting. You're supposed to be making your race proud. And this is not a black guy, just some guy
Yeah.
talking noise. I was like, you're supposed to make your race proud and have people want to aspire to be you, and you should dress up nicer and da da da. And I'm looking at it like, huh, this is fascinating. I thought by now, people wouldn't go online and do that sort of thing if you are of any type of renown and status. You wouldn't say that, but I'm not even gonna look the guy up. I lost the
Yeah.
Instagram reel a while back, but
Good.
it was
I
just
mean,
comedy.
it is the haters. It was just like just choking on their own hate, just to kind of have an enemy to get on them. But you're right. I mean, just stuff that was like too black, even though it's in New Orleans, which is a city that is majority black and known for jazz, which is a black music influence. I mean, they had Harry Connick Jr. out there, fine, rolled him out there, but. Let's be honest, Trombone Shorty, John Baptiste, I mean, you had Big Frida. I mean, they didn't show her in the pregame, but her music was playing. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's a black, all that, So it's like, yeah, man. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. And then Jay Z, of course, the Jay Z of it all. He was a DEI hire, so they're going after Jay Z because he got the
yeah,
Super Bowl. Um, hilarious. It's hilarious on so many levels.
yeah, man. Yeah, it's funny. It's like whenever you, it's almost like a form of protest, and this is where the subversion thing comes again. God, here it is again. It's like you're like, hey, you're gonna go do the thing that we expect you to do. It's like, yeah, yeah, sure, I got you. And then you do something different. You don't necessarily go against what it was supposed to be, but then when they give you that look and they're like, not like this, not like this, yeah, and
Matrix.
then they just pass out.
I'm an artist. I mean, it's just like you can't tell me what you tell me to do something, and then you can't expect it to be. You don't want to fall into cliche as an artist. I get
Yeah.
that. So
Well, see, here's my thing. Beyonce did more overt kind of blackness, but because she was dressed up and had that spectacle, people overlooked it and was like, whatever.
yeah, it was a different time too. Let's be honest. But yeah, she
Sure.
she did it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, she had the black marching band. She did Renaissance. I mean, she did everything. And then even she was very overt in the whole halftime show, Christmas. It was like she came out on a horse of all things,
Yeah.
singing a country song with a hat on. It was just like okay. Then she had all the country music artists come out that were black. I mean, it was just like I'm a black country artist. Don't you forget.
Yeah. And even so, she still hit the check mark, so people weren't as mad at that.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I don't
yeah,
think people were as mad at that as they are at this, but
yeah. I love
they
it,
don't want a
man.
message.
No, well, message.
And a prison yard. That was the one we didn't pick up on before. They did this on a prison yard with dead bodies everywhere.
Mm.
And I'm
So
not talking
yeah.
about the song because there was no rock music.
Mm, mm-mm. Yeah, man. But I gotta give a shout out to my greatest song ever. Mustard. We gotta put that out there somewhere. That song,
Yeah,
when that song becomes so hype, man, it's just like I don't know, man. It's kind of hit the airways, man, and everybody just
yeah,
went
yeah. They even did like a little Heinz even got in contact and did a little ad with them. You saw
I
the Heinz
saw it.
ad?
Yep, the
The
mustard. Yep, mustard. Turn the TV off. But it was apropos. I mean, he was shouting the haters, the pre-hate, right? He knew the pre-hate. You could shut the TV off. What you complaining about? Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off.
Yeah, I like how he must just actually bring. I'm trying to think if there's anybody around who's been doing it since the days of Dame Dash and Pharrell, Timbaland, where
Well,
you'd
what's
have the
his name
producer
was
all up in the music video.
what's his name? DJ Khaled. I mean, he was up there. I mean, he's
Yeah,
still
yeah, of
kind of
course.
around. Yeah. I mean, remember that one time BET Awards? It was a whole DJ Khaled,
Yeah, yeah.
smorgasbord of artists, right? But yeah, he is.
Let me.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
up there.
performing the halftime show, and all of a sudden, it's like some guy comes out. You put your arms around his shoulder, and both of y'all are like, "All right, you can get off stage now." It was like,
I mean, he produced that mustard.
you know, what's funny is there are actual like TikToks where you can you search for mustard with like 5 or 7 A's. I forgot how many A's they put in there, but you just search for like hashtag mustard or whatever. And yeah, there are all these videos of like when that song comes on, the kid will jump up and yell mustard. They don't know the rest of the song; they'll just jump up and yell that part. I love it.
What that song he does? What's that? It reminds me of Sicko Mode. Remember, Sicko Mode was like three
Hmm.
songs in one, and
Yeah,
that mustard song. What's that song called? Turn the TV off. It's like three. It's like two songs, right? Because it starts off slow, and then he goes into that dun, 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 kind of like Sicko, right? Sicko Mode, where they kind of have that, and out like a light, like a light. Now, oh yeah, I know Drake. I'm giving Drake some props, but
yeah,
so I think that's part of the decimation of Drake and just taking his style too.
yeah, yeah.
So it's just like I'm gonna do exactly what you do. I'm gonna make two songs in one, man.
Drake, Drake, Drake got that style from somebody else, man.
Yeah,
So
good
I'm not
point.
even
Yeah, yeah,
don't.
you're right.
I mean, the guy who made it popular. It's like saying, yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, Mr. Benja, man, this has been great. Did you want to get into some trailer time real quick and then
Oh yeah, yeah. We gotta do our
close it up?
trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, we got some trailers for you today, as we've been doing lately, and we're going to start off with the trailer for How to Train Your Dragon. I've actually never seen any of the How to Train Your Dragon movies, so this will be my. I may have seen the trailer before, but this will be the first. Have you watched them? I suppose you have kids, so
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they liked them. They were okay. I mean, I thought they were decent. Mr. Benja, I think the one of the trailers, I think it's there's a little commercial in the beginning of it or something. So I gotta make sure you get that one lined up, the Thunderbolts one.
Wait, the Thunderbolts one I got from it has a commercial on it for you?
Yeah, is IGN.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was the official joint
Yeah, give me the official joint. Give me that official
from
stuff,
from
man.
Marvel, right? Yeah, from
Yeah,
Marvel.
give me that Marvel joint. But anyway, yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, I seen it. I thought it was decent cartoon about finding common ground with potential villain and all that. It's got some good storytelling, but I would not guess that it would endure this long where it gets the um, changing the animation into you know change it into what's it called, live action, right? It's like that
Hmm.
doesn't happen to a lot of movies. I mean, I think Disney kind of started that trend a little bit. What they did: Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and then of course now they're gonna have Moana coming out. But I guess Pixar. I mean, what's this? Universal Studios. I think that came from DreamWorks. they're starting to do that now with their shows, and so they're and it's the first one they're doing because if Disney did it, why not we do it too, right? So let's take our animation and make it real life. so so yeah, yeah, man. So like I said, we can kind of check out this How to Train Your Dragon. Let me tee up this other one here too while we're talking. Yeah. All right, let's go to the Marvel Studios. We gotta go to the Marvel Studios joint.
All right, so this is the How to Train Your Dragon official trailer. I thought they'd have like a sub name to it, How to Train Your Dragon Real or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but that's just it. Anyway, let's start this off right now in 3, 2, 1, play.
We're all descendants of the finest dragon fighters from everywhere the Vikings ever traveled. These beasts are a threat to all of our lands. It's time, Hiccup.
I have to kill you. I will because I'm a Viking. Hear that? I'm a Viking!
Oh,
It's okay. I won't hurt you. Maybe they're not as bad as we think they are.
In case you forgot, our parents' war is about to become ours. Figure out which side you're on.
They've killed hundreds of us!
And we've killed thousands of them! Toothless, no! He's a friend! You all need to see this. I'm not one of them.
Wow, you've lost everything. Your father, your tribe, your best friend. What are you gonna do about it?
Probably something stupid.
Well, you've already done that.
And something crazy. What's up to us? Us? Stick with me. All right, bud, you ready? Come on! Here it comes!
The terrible terror!
It's like the size of my...
really? That gave me a laugh. That gave me a laugh.
What'd you think?
So one thing I know about reactions, and I don't want to make, I don't want to be fake, but I want to be proper to the reactors. One thing about reactions is you're not really supposed to dunk on it and be down on them. I get it. That's how reactions go. I liked it. I wasn't too invested in the story. Like I don't know much about How to Train Your Dragon, but from this they gave a lot of good story elements, a lot of good a couple of good characters, the girl love interest, and then the old stalwart, big Viking guy. So it's I like the way it kind of played out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought they were hiding the ball here, but there's a little another reason why they bond there, and it was kind of hinted at there. Where I don't know if you know, he was on the Hiccup, which is the name of the dragon, when he kind of put his foot down like a gas. I don't know if you saw
Mhm.
that part when he was flying. So if they put that in there, so basically, not without too many spoilers, they bond on some kind of deformity, and always thought that was interesting. Like he had a
Mhm.
deformity and the dragon
Right,
had
right.
one, and so they bond on that, and so I think that they kind of need each other, right? Because
Yeah.
so I thought that was kind of interesting. So if they put that in there, that's the core of the story. But yeah, I mean, a couple of things. Me, I'm the Hollywood guy, right? So Gerard Butler plays his dad. He's the same voice actor from the cartoon. So they're starting to do that more, right? Hey,
Yeah.
if you're still halfway decent, as an actor, we're gonna throw you into the actual movie itself, right? Play the same
Yeah.
role. So I thought that was interesting. And then the
Yeah.
love interest, her name is Astrid. You know whose daughter that is?
I don't know. I couldn't tell with the braids.
Yeah, you couldn't tell the braids and stuff. But she was actually in The Last of Us. That actress.
Oh, okay.
At the very beginning, if you saw The Last of Us, the TV show, and her mom is Thandie Newton. So you can't unsee it.
Okay.
When you watch it again, you'll see. Oh yeah, that's Thandie
Okay.
Newton's daughter.
Okay.
So that's just she's getting a little movement. So yeah, man.
Excuse me. Can you wear braids? Thandie Newton's my mama. It's like, okay, I guess so.
My dad is I'm half white, so yeah, I'll be good. But
Let's roll with it.
let's do it. Yeah, man. So yeah, I think we'll see. I'm cautiously excited.
Yeah. It made me realize something. They play it a little, not just because it's live action, but I think they play it a little older. And this is just a feeling, because the people who watched it before were younger when they watched it, and they kind of want to see a more grown up version because they're grown up now. So that kind of was a disconnect for me at first, but I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's a little older crowd, so give them an.
Yeah, the joke at the end, seems like that was a little bit older joke they were going for. So yeah,
makes sense. Makes sense.
I love it. All right, man. What's next?
What's next? We have our second video that we're gonna. Video trailer. This is Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts, the big game trailer. So I think I've seen parts of this. Theo, you saw the whole thing, so we'll just put that out there. We kind of know what this is going to be about, so it's not like we're going to be terribly surprised on anything. 2 minutes, 23 seconds, and not too much more to say about it. You got anything you want to say?
No, we'll talk about why there's an asterisk. I think we figured out why there's an asterisk now, so we'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. Actually, I haven't figured that out. So anyway, let's play this one up in 3, 2, 1, play.
Let's talk facts. The Avengers are not coming. Who will keep the American people safe?
There's some big threat out there, and you are gonna help me stop it.
Wait, us?
Yeah, you. Why, you got someplace to be?
I love that guy.
So none of us comply? So what, we all just punch and shoot?
I can't think of a worse group of people trying to work together.
Speed! John, stop!
Where were you?
Where are you?
Everyone here has done bad things. You can't escape the past. Hey, it's like your mind is somewhere else.
So you can do something about it now, or live with it forever.
This could get messy.
No shit. You thought you were gonna be some great saviors? You can't even save yourself.
We can't do this. No one here is a hero.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
Okay, that was really good.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank you. This has makings of team that can rise to glory. Bring light from the darkness. This team can be the heroes on the Wheaties box with a little giddy toy.
Alex? Jesse, have you slept?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I'd like not to die today, so maybe somebody else should be driving.
I like that.
Okay.
I like the way they did this trailer. It was good for the fun times. I think people need a little bit of that joyfulness, the playfulness. Didn't talk a lot about the plot, so you know how we always discuss. We're like, I can kind of play it out in my head, even though there's plenty of information maybe in the movie. It did the teaser thing, and I'm good with this. I'm kind of interested now.
Well, I liked it when I first saw it, so I like that team vibe. And then Marvel, unlike the Suicide Squad, they just know how to make people quippy and have funny
Yeah,
moments and talking. So I think that'll go way better than Suicide Squad did, right? Because basically, which came first, Thunderbolt? I think Suicide Squad came out both, right? This whole concept of using bad guys to fight badder villains, right? And so, but I'm there for
sure.
that. I like the actress, I can't remember her name right
Pew
now.
pew.
Yeah, Pew. Yeah, she's good. Yeah, great actress, man. She's yeah, so she should make it interesting. And then so yeah, I don't know if you saw the poster, right? Did you see the poster?
Nah. Should
It's
I
a
look it up, or is it gonna?
yeah. Well, James will put it in there. It's a Wheaties box.
Oh, the
so,
Wheaties box, right?
so
Yeah,
it's
I did.
all
I
of them
did
on
see
the
that.
Wheaties
I didn't know
box.
that was the poster.
That was the poster, man. So it was like they talked about the trailer and they put it on the Wheaties box. And so, we'll see. I think it's fun. I think it's in May, so which would be um someone made a good point. They said because it's called the Thunderbolts, right?
Hmm.
After Ross Thunderbolt, right? The general from the Hulk. And so if you don't know, he's the one that originated the team. So they're like, wait a minute, we just had a movie where he was in it as a president, and we got another movie called The Thunderbolts. Why didn't you just put these movies together? And so I was like, man, there's a case to be made for that, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, I liked it, man. I think I love the nostalgia. We always got that little '80s soft rock popping up, right? We
yeah.
build this team together. I mean, who doesn't love that? So yeah, I'm there for it. I liked it. Cautiously optimistic.
It doggone it. So you know how a popcorn movie is supposed to be a popcorn movie, and I have this kind of vibe where there's certain reasons why I go to watch a movie after I've seen the trailer, and I honestly thought of popcorn while I was watching this.
There you go.
The scene, and I'm not even in the theater right now. You know, I'm at the cookout with the rainbow. So seeing the way it played out, the characters, the quips, the pacing, I just totally thought, wow, this is a movie I need to see in the theater. It's got that vibe to it. Way more so than a lot of the trailers I've seen recently. I don't know what it is exactly, but it worked out right.
What's the right mix of a popcorn movie? I love it. To make it a popcorn movie. Yeah, there's hints of the
Man,
bad guy. Go look up Sentry. They showed him in previous, but this is probably him in his all his glory. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. Because he's very super powered. So it's going to be interesting to see how, like Elena says, all we do is punch and shoot. None of us can fly. It's just like, yeah, this is interesting. Kind of like Captain America against the Hulk. It's like, but this is interesting. This is the first time we're seeing like the good guys having a villain that's more powerful than them. We never really had that in Marvel's movies, right? It's almost like the villains are afterthought. Now these villains are so much more powerful than the villain, the heroes in these movies.
yeah,
It kind of makes it interesting because even you know, the act where the Hulk is, not spoiler alert, but when Hulk is attacking Captain America, you're like, dude, this dude could get really hurt. I mean, yeah, he got a
but
lot of
yeah,
stuff,
you
but
saw the
this
trailer, yeah,
this ain't nobody coming, man. So speaking of which, so we'll talk about it here because it's out there. The asterisk, they finally tell us what the asterisk is. You gotta go look at some fan site in Japan or something. But when they put the asterisk on there, at the bottom it says Avengers not included.
I see. That's interesting and fun. I like it. Just give me more Bucky, and we're good.
Oh, you're a Bucky fan, okay?
Well, he's the anchor that we kind of know. So bringing us all into all of this, if you want to go back to Captain America and the Winter Soldier series, it kind of led the way for Thunderbolts and Bucky and him being his own thing as opposed to being part of something else. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good for this. Wow, I'm curious as hell now. What is that feeling? Now I got to dissect the trailer.
All right. Well, maybe we'll get into it next time. Wow, Mr. Benja, this has been a great one. Guys, look, we always enjoy the time we have with you guys and talking about these great shows, movies, and business side of things. So look, if you like what we're talking about, please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on X, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And then go check us out on our website, Show versus Business. All right, Mr. Benja.
Peace, rainbows, and happy Black History Month. Can I say that?